Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
Good morning, Bix Weir, Roadrunner.com with 2 morning horn of Z's, your sip of chaga coffee. All right, let's talk silver today. Again, although you don't see it in the price, there are huge things happening in silver. The end of 170 years of silver manipulation is at our doorstep. Just take a look at, sometimes you got to like sit back, and there's so much. Go to roadrunner.com and search for any topic. Do the search related to silver. You're going to find hundreds of articles on silver, back when I used to blog. But there's some exciting stuff going on in copper as it relates to silver. Hang on one second. So this is the two prices, one's of silver, one's of gold, since the 1970s. As you can see, silver right here, we had the Hunt brothers buying of 100 million ounces. They said they were cornering the market, and basically the regulators took them down and took the price down. The regulators determined the price of metal, by the way. That was 100 million ounces. JP Morgan, on the other hand, was allowed to get over a billion ounces of physical silver. So I don't know why the CFTC seems to think it's okay for JP Morgan to do it, but not for the Hunt brothers to do it. Anyway, and then in the 2000, just at the beginning of 2000, Warren Buffett bought a whole bunch of silver, about 120 million ounces, and the government once again came in and took down Warren Buffett. How did they do it? There was a company he had purchased called General Re that was doing some shady things. They said, hey, Warren Buffett, you're going to either go to jail for this fraud at General Re, or you're going to give us all your silver and we won't prosecute you for that, which is exactly what happened. No charges were brought against Buffett. Even though he owned the company, all the management of General Re went down. Buffett wasn't even questioned. Why? Because Buffett had that ace in the hole. He had the 120 million ounces that the bad guys wanted, so the government, on the side of the bad guys, made the deal. Maybe that's why JP Morgan took down 1 billion ounces of silver so that they could get out of their crimes. That is a huge weapon to hold over the cabal, over the honest regulators, if there is such a thing. And that is why the head of the CFTC at the time, and Bart Chilton, one of the commissioners, said it was a political decision. Bart Chilton said it was a political decision not to bust JP Morgan. Maybe the politics was, hey, I've got 1 billion ounces of silver, and if you mess with me, I'm going to take down the entire system. I don't know, but there's so much shady shit going on. That's why you got to look at stuff like this. So look at this is 50 years of silver prices. You can see that there's the jump in 1980s, 2011 with the crisis of 2008, the crashing of Bear Stearns, the huge silver short, JP Morgan implementing their Operation Silver Squeeze that I've outlined on the Road to Ruta. I outlined it at the time. They put a guy named Bill Daley in as Obama's chief of staff. Bill Daley was the head of the Jamie Dimon SWAT team at JP Morgan. So Bill Daley goes in, they run the price of silver from $20 to $50 and then slam it all down, creating an artificial bear market that we're still in today. And then you see it starting to climb up. Now look at the difference between silver and gold, both monetary metals, although silver is much more important than gold because it's an industrial metal, as we all know. Here's gold. I mean, it went, their all-time high was in like 1980, and then Volcker had to spike the interest rates to 20% and rig the price of silver through Alan Greenspan's programs, computer programs, which I've proven time and time again. But look what gold was allowed to do. This shows you that silver is so much more important to rig than gold is. They have millions of tons of gold, not 250,000 tons. There's so much gold out there. Anyway, this is just, gold's still rigged. It's just not rigged as much as silver because it's not as important as silver, not even close to as important as silver. So over the last 50 years, the gold all-time highs, in 1980 we had like the $800 gold, and then it doubled it. Silver literally hasn't gone past, in 1980, silver hit just about $50. And then in 2011, silver hit $50. That doesn't show it on this chart because it was like an intraday thing. So it went up there. There should be a red line right up there to $50. 1980, 2011, both hit $50, and now it's less than one half of its all-time high, whereas gold is now trading at more than double its all-time high. That is pure market rigging, market manipulation. Let me show you how they do it. Futures and options on the Comex, silver derivatives. They're trying to implement silver derivatives for Bitcoin. Who knows if it'll work? The insanity of derivatives is the joke. Look at this. Open interest right now. Now, nothing's going to happen in silver until we get near the December contract, which is the next delivery month. That's where the games are played. Right now, 115 million ounces, or 150,000 contracts are open for the December contract of silver. That's about a little over 500 million ounces. That gets whittled down through the Jeffrey Christian churn, as I like to call it. Remember, these are just banks trading back and forth with each other. Okay, you take the hot potato today, I'll take it tomorrow. A company called Virtu Financial is doing all the computer rigging for that. Vinny Viola, and I talk about him all the time. All right, so what we saw is, I don't know. What do you see when you look at this? I mean, let's see. That's volume yesterday was 50,000 contracts, which is 50 times 250 million ounces. 250 million ounces of silver traded yesterday. I'll guarantee you 250 million ounces were not mined yesterday. Why? Why is there such volume? It's for complete and total control and rigging of the markets. These are banks trading back and forth to each other to rig the markets. We've gone over this. But let's talk about how fast that can end. How fast that can end. Look what happened in copper in the last couple days. Trafigura revealed as culprit behind copper market mayhem. Mayhem means they bought contracts and they're pulling the physical out. Physical is the key. Bloomberg, it appears the culprit of the chaos in copper markets has been identified. Bloomberg reports people familiar with the matter say that Trafigura Group was behind a significant portion of the orders to withdraw copper from the London Metal Exchange warehouses. It's not unusual for physical traders to withdraw metal from the exchange to ship to their customers, and Trafigura isn't the only trading house to have taken metal off the exchanges in recent months, the people said. And the move comes against a backdrop of very low inventories globally. Still, total requests to withdraw more than 150,000 tons of copper from the LME warehouse in the past 2 months have all but drained the available stock on the exchange, and Trafigura represents a significant portion of those, the people said. This is not that much of a surprise. During the pandemic, Trafigura emerged as the most high-profile bulls on the global copper market, with head trader Kostas Bitas predicting prices will hit $15,000 in the coming years as the industry witnesses a supercycle underpinned by booming demand of electric vehicles and new renewable energy, both of which use massive amounts of silver. So here's the deal. What's the difference between copper going to zero inventories and silver going to zero inventories? When silver goes to zero inventories, we have the failure of some massive, too big to fail banks. JP Morgan, Citibank, UBS. Well, I think Deutsche Bank's out of it. Wells Fargo is in there. RBC. You can go down the list. Let me tell you the list of banks that will go down if the silver supplies run out. ABN AMRO, Barclays, Citibank, Credit Suisse, Goldman Sachs, HSBC, Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, RBC Capital, Scotiabank, UBS. Those are all too big to fail banks. What is a too big to fail bank? It means if they fail, the entire system fails. I don't care if you have $50 in my friendly local credit union bank. It will go to zero. Everything fails because they're all interconnected. That's why they're called too big to fail banks. And it's not just a handful of the big guys. It is all those banks I listed were too big to fail banks. Any one of them goes down, it takes everybody else down with it. especially the other two big to fail banks, because they all have interlinking contracts with each other. They all have interlinking customers with each other. Our entire fake global fiat monetary system is interlinked. One piece goes and it all goes. That's how sound our base is for this monetary system. That's why they're talking about the global reset. The global reset is the global cover-up of the crimes that have been committed so far. And no, they won't be the ones deciding. No, XRP is not going to be the go-to thing to save the banking industry. It's just silly people say silly things. So that's where we are. It is happening right now to copper. Copper inventory is going to zero. And what happens to the price of copper? Stuff like this. It's almost trading at $5 a pound now. It could go to $50 a pound. It could go to $1,000 a pound. When the silver runs out, you're going to see your $1,000, your $2,000, your $20,000, your $30,000 silver. Because those banks will no longer be trading anymore. They don't have anything in inventory. It's all gone. How fast can silver inventories go? Let's ask our friends over at Private Advisor Group LLC, who in the first quarter of this year, probably the first month of this year, bought close to 200 million ounces of silver on SLV and took delivery of a big chunk. 200 million ounces in the first month. And I think it was more. And then took delivery of, looks like about 70 or 80 million ounces. I haven't seen their position yet. This represented over 30% of all SLV was bought in a month. How is that even possible without the price of silver skyrocketing? Because they play games. That's why Goldman Sachs came out and freaked out. And Jeffrey Christian came out and freaked out back in January, February. The big silver squeeze. And everybody's like, oh yeah, they're doing it to silver just like they did to GameStop and all that. No. This is the real deal. This is the real world where you're buying physical commodities and taking delivery because of the fraud that's going on behind the scenes. Now, those of you who have followed the road to Ruta, you know who Trafigura is. Trafigura, these guys who are taking all the copper off the LME warehouses out of London. Trafigura is part of the Marc Rich group of companies that got split off after Marc Rich. I don't know what they did. I think it was before Bill Clinton pardoned him. He was like on the America's Most Wanted for the longest time ever. He's got a record. He would have had to spend 300 years in jail. And then Clinton just comes out and pardons him. Why? Well, we all know the Clintons, the Bushes, the Obamas, they all work for the same people. But Marc Rich was assisting Clinton in creating the thing called the strong dollar policy. Do you remember the strong dollar policy? They never actually told you what that was. They just said it has to do with the strong dollar. The strong dollar is in the benefit of the United States of America. How do you make a strong dollar? You either balance your budgets and get everything in order, which they did not do, or you rig all commodities, especially gold, silver. But you got to do all commodities, or they're going to break out here and there, like copper is doing right now. So Marc Rich assisted the Clintons in that Marc Rich was the number one trader and mover of physical commodities in the world. I've done a lot of work on Marc Rich. Go to roadtoruta.com. Search for Marc Rich. You're going to find 155 articles on Marc Rich. That's how important Marc Rich is to gold and silver. If you don't know who he is, read the book Metal Men. Metal Men. METALMEN. About Marc Rich. It is shocking how much this guy got away with. But his company, Marc Rich and Associates, split up into Trafigura, which is the one in the headlines today, and Glencore, which is I think Glencore is number one, Trafigura is number two. These are people dealing in the real thing. People, and Pink is Green. Pink is Green was Marc Rich's left-hand man. There's Marc Rich. He died in 2013, along with, I think the head of Trafigura died about the same time. Very criminal, very corrupt. These are the uber rich. We're not talking millions or billions. We're talking trillions. And who was originally German, Marcel David Reich, changed his name to Marc Rich because it sounded more American for his commodities hedge fund trading back in the 70s. Yeah, he lived in Bern, Switzerland, in exile for years. I think it was Bern, something like that. But if you go to Road to Ruta, and again, the Clinton pardon, listen, this is from PBS. Billionaire Marc Rich was one of America's most wanted white-collar criminals. The commodities trader fled to Switzerland in 1983, shortly after he was charged with more than 50 counts involving fraud, racketeering, and tax evasion. The charges could have drawn a prison sentence of more than 300 years. Federal prosecutors said Rich rigged oil pricing scheme during the 1973 energy crisis and illegally sold oil to Iran while that country held American hostages. During the final hours of his presidency, President Clinton gave the 65-year-old fugitive a full pardon. Mr. Clinton was asked about this pardon on his first day as a private citizen. Clinton said, "You're not saying that these people didn't commit the offense. You're saying they paid. They paid in full. I spent a lot of time on this case, and I think there are good reasons for it. And I think I couldn't say them without them better than my attorney, Jack Quinn, who just happens to be Mr. Rich's attorney." Unbelievable. Clinton had to do it. He signed a contract with Marc Rich saying, hey, I want to print as much money as possible and balance my budget, but I got to keep commodity prices in line. Can you do that for me, Marc Rich? Marc said, that's the easiest thing in the world. I got computer derivative traders, and I can get the real thing in the real place at the right time, and I can fake any book, anything you need. Look no further. I'm your man. When you get out of office, you're going to pardon me. Deal, done. Let's call it the strong dollar policy. Tim Geithner needs to go to jail for that too. That's where it came up, and that name was invented by Geithner and Larry Summers when Geithner was head of the trading desk over at the New York Fed. All of this is on the Road to Ruta. There's an article. Hold on, I got a alarm going off. Hang on one second. Yeah, that wasn't an alarm. That was my lovely wife calling. She can wait. Horn disease is more important. All right. So go to the Road to Ruta, hit subscribe. Well, hit subscribe, but hit search, and you will find this article, Glencore Metal Derivatives, Conspiracies, and the Endgame, all about Marc Rich, Trafigura, and Glencore. I mean, it goes, I went pretty deep into who this guy was, who he was working for, because I was trying to figure out how can they rig commodities for so long when it's so obvious, especially silver. How can it be done? Because at some point, all the physical commodities will go away. Well, that's why you hire a guy named Marc Rich and his sidekick, Pincus Green. Pincus was the shipping guy. He's the guy who could get into Nigeria when there's a war going on and get molybdenum out of Nigeria and then paint it with silver coating and call it silver bars, shit like that. Pincus, I think Pincus went to jail. Not quite sure. They tend to stay out of jail, these guys, because they have not billions, they have trillions of dollars. That's how big the commodity trade is. And of course, everything's covered up by the CFTC because, for the good of the system, we got to keep things together. Insanity at its finest. But that's what's going on. That's the behind the scenes. Somebody asked me the other day I want to buy silver locally. I don't want to wait for Andy to ship it to me, although it only takes a couple days once you get him the money. Andy Scheckman, Andy@milesfranklin.com. But you should develop relationships with your local silver dealers because that's probably where you'll be selling it when the shit falls apart for thousands of dollars per coin. So there's all kinds of directories. I use the JM Bullion buying gold and silver locally in the U.S. It has this map. You just click on the map. Say you're in Texas. You click on Texas, and it has all these places. Say you're in Dallas. Click on Dallas. And there you have all these silver dealers. Dallas Gold and Silver Exchange, Northwest Numismatic, Ruby's Gold and Silver, Texas Coins. Each town, literally each town has a couple gold and silver dealers. So you need to get in touch with them and build a relationship so they don't try to cheat you. So you can get this at JM Bullion /local. JM Bullion /local. And there's other thing. Just type in Google local silver dealers and you'll get these directories. And you can find some near you, get to know them, do a little buy sell, go in there, buy a couple Silver Eagles, get to know them so you don't have to haggle with them every time. They're going to give you the best price. Yeah, very important to do that. Also on the road to Ruta, I am having a big discussion with Jenny Moonstone this Thursday that I'll be posting over the weekend. On the private road, get your ass into the Jenny Moonstone readings and read what she was saying. She saw this delay in the cryptos and in silver coming, but there's an end to the delay. And silver is ready to rip through all this bullshit. And after 170 years of price suppression, what silver's going to do is going to blow away anything that a crypto could do. Anything. So get your physical silver, get it in your own possession. Especially now, Bitcoin. If you own Bitcoin, great time to lighten up on your Bitcoin. Go call Andy Scheckman or send him an email, andy@milesfranklin.com, milesfranklin.com. Swap your Bitcoin for silver, milesfranklin.com. Yeah, now's the time with Bitcoin up over 60,000. Go get yourself some physical silver, some real stuff, because you got a lot of price suppression that's going to be released. Anyway, that's what I got for you today. This is Bix Weir, roadtoruta.com. I'll talk to you later.
All right, it's time to have a little fun with our friends on the Comex. This song goes out to that big old gigantic naked short out there. You know who you are. It's kind of lonely at the top, ain't it? I thought I heard the people say, pay me my silver now. Tomorrow's another trading day. But pay me my silver now. Watching the Comex prices rise. Pay me my silver now. JP Morgan naked shorts the highs. Pay me my silver now. Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now. CFTC, you better shut it down. Pay me my silver now. There's people rising up in every town. Pay me my silver now. The Gatta boys are in the know. Pay me my silver now. Tinfoil hats at the silver show. Pay me my silver now. Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now. Butler nails you every time you try. Pay me my silver now. The BPS shows how much you lie. Pay me my silver now. The game is done when the silver's gone. Pay me my silver now. Comex metal in the warehouse, none. Pay me my silver now. Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now. The banking boys melt that witch. Pay me my silver now. Deliver those bars and melt that bitch. Pay me my silver now. Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now. 'Cause now is the time to free our land. Pay me my silver now. Silver in my pocket, paper in the can. Pay me my silver now. Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now. Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.